Again, this is BrightSign, Kaleo Lee, with returning safely back to work. Kaleo, welcome. I'm going to stop my share and have you take over. Thanks so much for being here.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you. Aloha and welcome to BrightSign's portion of Thinking Forward presentation. Let's see. With respect to time, I ask that everybody keep their arms and legs in the vehicles at all times as we're about to move fast and furious. And today we'll be specifically talking about COVID-inspired solutions from us, BrightSign, as well as some of our partners. For the simplest solution, I want to begin with BRIGHTMENU. And not limited to, but this was inspired by restaurants trying to deal with, dare I say, the new norm. And we wanted to, and we are helping many restaurants reduce that contact by eliminating the physical touch of menus. This is actually my kid's yearbook, but I don't have a menu here. And no apps are required or even needed, or you don't even need the internet. We turn our players into a local media server. And what that does is you're able to upload your images, and you can even do it from your phone. Edit your information, how you want it to appear to your customers, and you're done. And you don't even, we even provide the templates for the physical printout, or you can do the traditional digital signage type display. And then now your customers have their menus on their devices from their beloved establishments. And taking it one step, or maybe even two steps forward, I want to dive into BrightLink. So similar to BrightMenu, you can perform one-way communication with or without a display. And that taking it that step further, you will be able to provide your customers a much more dynamic experience with BrightLink. From location maps to product specs, you can even pair it with the internet, which is optional. And now you can start directing them to, say, sign up for programs or check out specials, all that jazz. And in my opinion, BrightLink is the perfect scalable retail application. Now with two-way communication, your customers can experience traditional digital signage plus interact with your own displays with the safety and comfort of their own devices. Connecting is the same way as BrightMenu and BrightLink, one way, but with two-way, you're able to engage and interact with your customers in a truly unique experience. A lot of people's first response whenever I show a lot of these solutions typically are, why don't we just use a QR code to our website in order to engage? And that's a great question. Same reason why many of our large retail customers are using BrightLink, and it's because you can control the experience within your or your customer's brick and mortar. And you can use a standard image and video style of digital signage with BrightLink, or you can get fancy with HTML5 for a truly unique branded experience. Now I want to touch on a solution that has been incredibly popular before COVID and quarantines were even a thing, and that would be BrightVoice. With BrightVoice, I really want to do a live demo, but that could and probably would take up our entire time slot. And also, I'm not going to say who are, but based on the picture here, you can probably tell who one of our first BrightVoice customers were and still are. And let me note, this customer has a voice solution of their own. And for the same reasons mentioned with our previous Bright solutions, this customer wanted our BrightVoice to stay completely offline. They didn't want their customers ordering stuff or connecting accounts with personal information in the public space. As you can probably understand, that's pretty dangerous. Bright Voice works with our XD1034 as well as XT1144. The license itself is very affordable. However, one caveat I'd like to throw out there is depending on how in-depth you want to go, there is a non-recurring engineering fee. And not even touching on customers' wake words, but we have, here's an example of one of the scripts that one of our Bright Voice solutions implementation, with each phrase, our engineers have to script it along with the different ways that a customer may say, for example, hey, wake word, show me the Series 6 Apple Watch. Or an alternative script would be, hey, wake word, I want to see the Series 6 watches. And Bright Voice works incredibly well with a number of different environments. In fact, we had Bright Voice at the ISC and Infocom exhibit floor, and a lot of us know how incredibly noisy those trade shows are, and they work amazingly, even with the different accents one would find at ISC. And now that we touched on BrightSign native solutions, I want to showcase some of our partner solutions integrated on our platform. BlueFox.io has a very unique way of helping our customers manage their capacity or occupancy. And meaning GDPR compliance, BlueFox uses our players to scan and identify how many unique cell phone frequencies they have within a facility. Tie those numbers in with your content, and now you can automate messages to do things like enter, caution as we start to reach capacity, and even please wait outside until our space is available. And not everything has to be a complete out-of-the-box solution. I want to touch on some sensors that you or your customers can apply to a custom solution that they may have cooking in their brain. Here's an air button / air select proximity sensor by Audio Authority, and plug in a bunch of these sensors into Audio Authority's air select hub and connect it to our players, and you have a button style interaction but with discrete proximity sensors. Basically, you just wave your finger in front of that button. And if you prefer a more direct connect approach into our GPIO ports, BLUEFIN makes a contactless sensor that plugs directly into any of our extended IO module players. And if you want a page flip style experience, NEXMOSPHERE created a pretty awesome air gesture sensor. Put it on a table kind of a thing, and you can swipe up, swipe down, left or right, and these swipes can be pushing you to more content or create selecting options, however you want to do it. But basically, they also incorporate an option where you can bring your hand close to the sensor, almost like a push button, but you're not actually touching it. And kind of what you see in this picture, you can also put it behind glass, a frosted glass, and it still works. So you're able to hide it discreetly and still create that user experience. Another pretty cool solution is by one of our partners at Creating Margin. Their Curio foot pedal is a platform that engages our GPIO ports, and you can use it to trigger whatever state you want. Selecting something, use it as a proximity sensor. They make a rugged, purposeful version that you want somebody to purposely step on, or they also make a discrete version that can unnoticeably hide underneath, say, your carpet. Masks have become necessary these days, and our friends and partners at WALLBOARD have created an AI-based face mask detection with an Internet of Things sensor to remind customers to wear a mask, or even alert someone to possibly provide one. And last but not least, we have a complete solution by our partner Red Dot Digital Media. And this kiosk is fully equipped with thermal scanners to screen anyone with a fever. It also dispenses hand sanitizer with a counter to enable either alerts for an attendant to refill or to possibly cheer on the incredible number of customers that you have trying to fight that good fight. And that is my time. Thank you all for attending. I am Kaleo Lee, your BrightSign sales manager for the West slash Southwest. And my contact info is here for anyone who wants to dive deeper. And a lot of the AV community is on Twitter. So here's my handle in case you're comfortable communicating that way. Just be warned, most of my tweets are just lighthearted goofing off. But yeah, and then at this time, I want to introduce Jan Piros, our Director of Product Management, who will be assisting me with the Q&A portion, as he is way smarter than I am in case this goes technical.
Thanks so much, Kaleo.
Yeah, thanks
so
for
we have
having
a few questions, Nicole.
So we have a few questions here. Can you point to any museum gallery installation using Bright Voice and or the phone app?
Can we point to, is that what you said?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you point to any museum or gallery installation using Bright Voice and or the phone app?
Jan, do you know of any that we don't have an NDA with?
I think because it was generally new, there's a lot of museums are not telling us, so people are not telling us if they're using it or not. But I know that I think the Smithsonian is using the Bright app in a new area within the museum.
Thank you. We have another question from Michael. Do you see any opportunity for trained content creators for trade shows, customers, supporting the event staging community? Again, that's, do you see any opportunity for trained content creators for trade shows, customers, supporting the event staging community?
Yeah, there's a ton. I mean, the problem is basically, like, for us in our trade shows, we have a bunch of partners that we currently use. But absolutely, I mean, when people have, they want to use our players for trade shows or live events, oftentimes that is also incorporating a job of a content creator, for live events. And our players are used often in live events. There's major studios here in California, as well as on the East Coast, that use our players religiously for rides and live events and all that fun stuff, along with the content creators that go along with those solutions.
We get a lot of requests for people who know JavaScript and HTML, including tools like Node.js and that sort of thing, and React, and maybe not a live event, but for developing experiences, interactive experiences and large experiences in venues. You mentioned museums, but also theme parks. We're a big player in theme parks, for instance, Disney and stuff. So it's a matter of you contacting the sales, maybe Kaleo could take it offline, contacting BrightSign sales and throwing your name into the ring and sending a portfolio together and allowing us to refer you. There's certainly a lot of demand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Is the BLUEFIN integration available for all BrightSign products retroactively?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, I assume so, being that it's a sensor separate, that you can order separately, but I can definitely find out if that's something that goes behind the glass, but I'll definitely ask that.
So what was the question again? Was it
Can the sensor be used basically without a BLUEFIN display?
Can sensors be used with like a NEXMOSPHERE sensor, that sort of thing?
The BLUEFIN specific. That one is BLUEFIN makes one that plugs into our GPIO port. They're asking, does it have to be used with BLUEFIN? And I'm pretty sure no.
If it's GPIO, then no. GPIO is pretty generic for us. You can plug it into BLUEFINs or non-BLUEFINs.
So Nicole, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask a question.
Great, thank you.
Get a few more Q&A in here. So we have quite a bit of time left. So if you have another topic that you might want to elaborate on, I would welcome you to kind of give us a little bit more, because we'd hate to not give you your fair use of your time. But we know BrightSign. We use you guys all the time. But would you or Jan be able to maybe position where you guys are versus other digital signage players? And pardon me if that's not the right word, but and also whether you feel your offerings relative to the current environment are different. Are they different, or do the other guys not have what you're doing in terms of voice control, the ability to do things from your phone, etc.? I'd like to know a little bit more about your competitive positioning.
Yeah, first off, I apologize. I was actually, for some reason, I was up late last night and I freaked out thinking I only had 10 minutes, which is why I truncated it down. Totally my bad. Yeah, as far as, which sucks, because as a salesperson, I'd love to talk. So I kind of messed myself up. But
That's okay.
yeah, as far as, and what was the follow-up question to that one?
Well, really, it's like, how do you guys position versus the other big players in the industry? And players, in this case, I mean companies. And secondly, your offerings. Maybe you could elaborate a little bit more on your, the offerings you guys have brought out for, a touchless world.
Yeah, by far, we are the market leaders. And Jen, if you have something you want to add on that, you can definitely jump in. You've been here longer than I have.
Okay, so yeah, so BrightSign players are experience engines. So as all of you know, we make these purple boxes, and they are the player of choice for a lot of CMS partners. So there's two sides to BrightSign. One side is the hardware, and the other side is our APIs and our software. For instance, BrightAuthor and BSN.cloud. Now, we work with other CMSs, and those CMSs, for instance, anything like AppSpace or MVix or any of these CMSs, they can actually plug right into our players and be able to publish to our players and use the functionality of our players within that CMS. So you mentioned voice. So say, for instance, if you go to a really basic sensor, a sensor like a NEXMOSPHERE sensor. So this is a NEXMOSPHERE sensor right here. And if this one is the sort of touchless vertical distance measuring, plugs into the USB. Now, if it plugs into the USB in our player, the CMS partners can actually use that data to be able to make their own presentations based on motion detection or passive infrared or voice. They can plug right into our player and actually use the commands and the serial information coming in from the outside and trigger events in their CMSs. So it's not only for BrightSign CMS and software. All the CMS partners, and you'll notice if you go to our web, all the partners can support all of the I/O of our players. So our players really are a sort of a platform for all these other CMSs and our own CMS to be able to sit on top and allow you to sort of choose between CMSs running on the same hardware. So it's very, very handy in that sense. Hopefully that answers kind of your question.
Yeah, and I also wanted to add, you're mentioning it's almost like it's a state controller. And so with our players and how it's being used, so within the market wise, we've been very fortunate and successful, in our own right, to where we were definitely leading the marketplace. And then amongst our integration with other CMS partners here in the US, we lead the physical player side by more than 200% to our next competitor. And surprisingly, our next competitor, a lot of people, especially here in the AV world, think that it's another AV company, but it's actually the computer-based guys. And then since we've entered the global market 2 years ago, we have been excelling beyond all the other competition this year. So we're the market leaders, both nationally as well as globally, a lot more nationally here. And then with the state controllers, it's pretty cool. So we can use UDP commands, and within our players, we don't care what it looks like. We just have to basically, you can say go if you want, and we can talk to the other players. And the beauty is, from an AV integration world, for LightWerks and all the awesome systems, large systems that you guys are putting together for your customers, we can integrate with all your different Trons of the world, speaking the UDP language that they want to, and as well as receive it. We just have to know what it looks like, and we tell our players what you want to do from there. And then how we'll tell those state controllers those controllers what UDP commands you want to be pushed out, and works that way. And now you're controlling lighting, you're controlling audio, you're controlling the entire user experience from a visual, auditory platform, beyond just our players and displays.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Kaleo. In as far as we communicate a lot with Crestron devices and Extron and Siemens, we can actually trigger events and be controlled and send information back to the Crestron device. A lot of people who use Crestron use BrightSign because it allows you to do all kinds of things, gives you a lot of liberty to do all kinds of things. In addition to that, these players can talk to each other and do video walls. So if you want to do a video wall that's controlled with a Crestron using BrightSign players, it's also doable. So it all sort of builds off of this platform that has all kinds of I/O on it.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. We have, basically with the HTML5 platform, that really takes it beyond the typical image and video capabilities. We have partners who are putting entire music lists on and streaming it, as well as turning our players into AV over IP, or I think they call it IPTV streams. So we're in a lot of major stadiums. We're in a lot of airports. We just got a green light from a major airport here in California. I think they're the largest airport here in California. Basically green lit to use our players. And the reason why they went with it is not only can you use it for the IPTV side, but now you have this amazing flexibility between different CMS partners. So they may want to use our CMS for some real manual, make something scheduled and talk to another player kind of a thing. But they might want, for say the marketing side, to be able to use someone like AppSpace, for instance, and be able to use a little bit more intuitive corporate feel of a software platform. And then say our other partner Triple Play for CMS platform for IPTV and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's been very nice being able to integrate with a lot of these partners. So we've been very successful.
We do have some questions.
Yeah.
We have a question from Mike. Can the red dot digital kiosk tie into a card access system to release a door if temperature is normal?
Yeah, so it's built with our extended IO module, and we can basically, as long as it has a GPI or basically a relay type of communication, or UDP, serial, anything along those lines, USB, HID device kind of a thing. If it has one of those standard forms of communication, we can absolutely integrate with that.
Thanks so much. We have another question. We have this is from Jim. We have several BrightSign boxes. So my question is in reference to integrating the BLUEFIN app into older model BrightSign boxes.
You're gonna have to check. Basically, you know what? Shoot me an email. Let me know what models you have, and then we can go ahead and figure out if it's compatible or not. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Kaleo. And we have one more question from Joe. And if you want to keep those questions coming from our attendee list, could you further explain your touchless prox sensors?
Yeah, there's many different ones. So with those different proximity sensors, so we'll take the first one by Audio. I forget their names. I have it here. Audio. I don't want to say the wrong name. There's a lot of audio companies out there. Audio Authority. So the one by Audio Authority, basically you're going to be within a very close range of that proximity sensor, and you're just kind of waving your hand in front of it to activate that. So if in this particular example, you can wave in front of the volume up, and then here's the volume down one, and they'll go ahead and wave in front of that one. And that's what I like about that particular solution, is it's a very discreet, this is what I'm doing. There's no questions asked, and then it's just gonna engage. Then you got, like, say the BLUEFIN one, and that's basically, almost the same thing. In this particular case, you're just going to be tying in straight to our players and saying, hey, when you see this relay, basically on or off, right? When I see this, we're going to momentarily toggle, whatever it is that you want toggled in there. And then with the NEXMOSPHERE one, that one is, it gives you the one sensor, so you're not having to put multiple sensors on there, and you're using that for swipe up, swipe down, left, right. And then you can even say, and I've seen this one in action where you can actually put, specifics, not that you would ever do this, but say you want to do the old Contra code, up, up, down, down, left, right, left, right. There's no PA select start, but you could definitely put in multiple gestures that way. Yeah. Thanks
so much, Kaleo. We do have another question. The question is, how are you superimposed over your presentation?
Yeah. That's a new Zoom feature. It's updated to the latest version. This is not our product, although we do have a lot of CMS partners that do integrate with Zoom. But basically all you do is you hit share screen. You're going to give you an option, hit advanced, and then you're going to select the PowerPoint option, and it should say beta next to it in the top left. And then yeah, boom, you put that on. Now for me, I do have a green screen, so you can see my messy house as I pan to the side there, and then yeah, and it superimposes you.